Richard Fritzke. I'm the Northeast Regional Diversity Biologist for the Pennsylvania Game Commission, and I'm doing I'm working on the Barn Owl Conservation Initiative in the Northeast part of Pennsylvania. And here we are at a barn in Northumberland County, and we're just investigating this one for possible nests. And we actually just found two nests. We're not positive that they're both active. We're pretty sure one of them is active because the adult was in the area at the top of the barn. There were 18 eggs, which is very strange because the most they really have is 10. So to have 18 tells me that it's possible that there's either two nests going on in the same spot, or one of them is an old clutch that just didn't hatch. The barn owl feather is it's got these stripes, dark splotches. It's let's say it's white on one side, darker tan on the other side of the quill, and then it's got these lines which are very dark. And what really is distinctive is at the very top of the feather are these. This is a splotched color. It's a mix of all three colors: the white, the tan, and the dark brown. So that's their flight feather. That's the entrance, the only entrance to the top of the barn where the nest is, and that's where they're coming and going. Though they use the nest during the nighttime, in the daytime, they're likely to be found somewhere, hanging out somewhere else, like in the silo or another structure. So that's pretty typical that they won't even be in the same vicinity as the nest. One of the reasons that we banned them is because we're trying to determine just how, first of all, how far they're going. If we've had them go as far from central Pennsylvania to North Carolina, 500-mile distances. So we're trying to figure out how far they're going, but we also wanted to know as much as we can about their longevity. There's 4 eggs that are unhatched and then 3 that are missing. So it's very odd that just one hatches.
Sabine, that New Holland. I can't recall. Why is that?
It's about 5 weeks, 4.5, 5 weeks.
He's old. I just can't remember.
Yeah, I would go with 5 weeks because it's you got some of the flight feathers coming out here. You can see they're fairly well developed. Yet you have a lot of down feather. He's still very fluffy. It's very healthy looking, which is good considering all his brothers and sisters didn't make it. My guess is if they left, oh, I see what you're saying. They weren't incubating the eggs and the eggs got cold?
Yeah.
That's very well possible. Did it get, you get some heavy frosts down here?
Yeah, we had days where it was getting, it was pretty warm during the day, and then we got, it was down to 28, 30 degrees at night.
Okay, yeah, that's quite possible that the eggs froze.
Well, these are working on the edge.
Yeah, because this is still early, it's early in the season, so that's the chance that they take.
That is a very good possibility. I didn't think about it. They like.
Oh, 2912. I think I'm going to need this a little bit bigger. Yeah.
Can you sex them at this age?
No, unfortunately, there's not much I can do about that.
these birds.
So while he's doing that, I'm gonna do a measurement on the 7th primary.
We use these locking bands because if we use the regular bands, they'd pull it right off. So we actually have to crimp these to their leg so they cannot pull them off. Because they require the crimp, it takes a lot of time to make sure that they're straight, that they fit. He's being very cooperative. This is very unusual. I'm going to use a latex glove here to pull a feather. This is for the DNA study that York College is participating in. I just blow on it so I can see what I'm doing. And it's just a little bit of tissue, skin tissue, and blood at the very end of the quill that we're after, because that's where the DNA will be. And I'll just take one more. Oh, that's much better. Okay.
Yeah, you get the pin feather.
Yep. Okay, wow, he didn't even flinch. And then we're going to weigh him. Okay, we have a little over 1.25 pounds. That's it, right? Okay. So we aged him at about 5.5 weeks,
Turn
between
him a
5 and 5.5.
Okay.
Go over here.
He's too busy.
I turned his body, but his head didn't want to turn. Go ahead. You gotta put him in timeout. Okay. All right. This is my second attempt out here. We already had banded 2 nests in Turbinville.
Right, and how was that?
They went fine. They were great.
No different.
Right. But we have a whole bunch of nests to do today that are the same age as yours.
Right.
I'm really curious to see what's going on with them. So the Barn Owl Conservation Initiative is a project that started with the Game Commission, the Pennsylvania Game Commission, 5 years ago. I started on this project 3 years ago, and since then we've banded approximately 300 barn owls throughout the state. 20 years ago, there was a Pennsylvania Breeding Bird Atlas, which volunteers scoured the state for basically to observe as many birds and count as many birds as they possibly could. In last 2-3 years ago, the second Pennsylvania Breeding Bird Atlas completed, and they compared the results from the second Breeding Bird Atlas with the first, and they found that barn owls were rapidly disappearing from our state. They used to be fairly evenly distributed throughout the state, and now they're only found in some in certain pockets. So pockets like this one here in Northumberland County.